In the shadow of Ungban's looming threat, amid the unraveling chaos of the First Age, Turgon of the Noldor dared to dream of a city that would defy the will of Morgoth and offer sanctuary to his people. Thus, Gondolin was conceived, not merely as a fortress of stone, but as a beacon of hope, a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Eldar. It was a creation wrought with both foresight and divine inspiration, born from the whisper of Ulmo, the valor of waters. The tale begins with Turgon's journey to Nevrast, where he first established his kingdom by the sea. Yet even there, Ulmo came to him in a dream, revealing the hidden vale of Tumladen, encircled by the encircling mountains, Echoriath. This valley, a natural fortress, was like a pearl hidden in the shell of the mountains, utterly concealed from the prying eyes of Morgoth. Ulmo's guidance carried with it an imperative: build this city as a haven against the encroaching darkness, for a time would come when Gondolin's might would be crucial to the fate of Middle-earth. Turgon heeded this call, gathering masons, artisans, and laborers in secrecy. The construction of Gondolin lasted over 50 years, but its completion was a marvel of both architecture and magic. The city was modeled after Tirion upon Tuna, the shimmering capital of the Noldor in Aman, as a tribute to the glory they had left behind. Every tower, every street, and every fountain spoke of Turgon's yearning for Valinor and his attempt to reclaim that beauty in exile. The pinnacle of this design was the Tower of the King, standing at the heart of the city, a watchtower from which Turgon could survey all of Gondolin and gaze beyond the Echoriath. Yet Gondolin was not merely a place of beauty, it was a fortress designed with military precision. The mountains surrounding it were nearly impassable, save for a single, heavily guarded way of entry, the Hidden Way. Guarding this passage were the 7 gates of Gondolin, each more formidable than the last, crafted from stone, iron, bronze, and enchanted materials. The secrecy of its location was paramount. No bird flew near it. No spy of Morgoth could find it, for Ulmo had enshrouded the city in his protection. It was said that only one who was led by Ulmo's will could uncover its gates. But why, one might ask, did Turgon choose to follow Ulmo's guidance and undertake such a monumental task? The answer lies in the broader struggle of the First Age. Gondolin's purpose was twofold. First, to preserve the Noldor and their legacy, providing a bastion of hope and resistance against Morgoth's tyranny. And second, to fulfill Ulmo's designs. For Ulmo foresaw that Turgon's city would play a crucial role in the eventual downfall of Morgoth, a prophecy intertwined with Tuor and Eärendil, whose destinies would shape the world. Gondolin was a paradox, a city hidden from the world, yet destined to alter its fate. Turgon's decision to found Gondolin carried immense implications, both for the Noldor and the broader narrative of the First Age. It was an act of defiance against Morgoth's dominion, a deliberate choice to carve out a realm beyond the Dark Lord's reach. But the hidden city was also a poignant reflection of the Noldor's complicated relationship with the Valar, Middle-earth, and their own doomed fate. Gondolin embodied both their longing for Valinor and their estrangement from it. A city built in the image of paradise, yet forever out of step with the grace of the undying lands. The parallels between Gondolin and Tirion upon Tuna are striking. Tirion, the home of the Noldor in Aman, was a place of unparalleled beauty and harmony, illuminated by the mingled light of the 2 trees. Gondolin's white walls, lofty towers, and golden radiance echoed this lost glory. Yet, unlike Tirion, Gondolin was built in defiance of a world that had been corrupted. Its beauty was a pale imitation, tinged with sorrow and the burden of exile. This duality, hope and sorrow intertwined, defined Gondolin's existence and foreshadowed its tragic end. Despite its seclusion, Gondolin did not stand apart from the wider struggles of the First Age. Turgon's people remained active participants in the wars against Morgoth, and their secret operations aided their kin. Gondolin's warriors were among the finest, trained not only in combat, but also in secrecy and strategy, as the city's survival depended on it. The city's armies made a critical appearance in the Nerneath Alnoediad, the Battle of Unnumbered Tears, where Turgon's forces emerged unexpectedly to aid Fingon. It was a moment of staggering heroism. Gondolin's soldiers, clad in shining mail and bearing their white banners, turned the tide of battle for a fleeting moment, giving the Eldar and Edain hope against Morgoth's overwhelming might. Yet this intervention also foreshadowed Gondolin's downfall. For as Morgoth witnessed the might of Turgon's forces, he grew ever more determined to find the hidden city and destroy it. Turgon's decision to remain after the battle, despite Ulmo's repeated warnings to flee, reveals much about his character. He was a leader caught between competing imperatives, the duty to protect his people and the prophecy that foretold Gondolin's eventual role in Morgoth's demise. This tension led him to a fatal flaw, an over-reliance on the city's defenses and secrecy. Gondolin's very nature as a hidden realm carried symbolic weight. It reflected the hope of the Eldar for a refuge from Morgoth's pervasive malice, a place untouched by the corruption that had seeped into much of Middle-earth. But this isolation also served as a critique of insularity. Turgon's reluctance to engage more fully with the outside world, despite Ulmo's counsel, can be seen as both a strength and a weakness. It preserved Gondolin for centuries, yet it also sowed the seeds of its doom by cutting it off from the alliances that might have strengthened its defenses. Ultimately, Gondolin was not merely a sanctuary, it was a crucible for the unfolding of destiny, where the threads of prophecy and fate would converge in an act of devastating yet transformative destruction. The destruction of Gondolin, foretold by Ulmo, loomed as an inevitability, despite the city's unmatched defenses and strategic isolation. Yet the tragedy of its fall was not a mere accident of fate. It was the culmination of the Noldor's hubris, the machinations of Morgoth, and the unavoidable currents of destiny. Turgon's refusal to abandon Gondolin, despite Ulmo's warnings, exemplified his faith in the city's impregnability, but also his deeper, more tragic flaw, a reluctance to adapt to the shifting tides of the world. Central to Gondolin's fall was the betrayal by Maeglin, the king's nephew. Maeglin's story intertwines the city's glory with its doom, a reminder of how internal discord often proves as dangerous as external threats. A skilled craftsman and a respected figure within Gondolin, Maeglin nonetheless harbored a dangerous ambition and an unrequited love for Idril, Turgon's daughter. When Morgoth captured him during an expedition, Maeglin's pride and fear led him to reveal Gondolin's location, in exchange for power and a promise that Idril would be his. Maeglin's treachery is deeply symbolic. It represents the internal flaws within the Noldor, their ambition, possessiveness, and susceptibility to Morgoth's manipulations. Gondolin, for all its beauty and might, was not immune to these failings. Morgoth's destruction of the city was not achieved by force of arms alone, but by exploiting the weaknesses inherent in its people. This is a recurring theme in Tolkien's Legendarium, the idea that evil often finds its way through pride and betrayal rather than brute strength. When the assault on Gondolin finally came, it was as if the forces of Angband had unleashed all their malice upon the city. Dragons, balrogs, and armies of orcs descended upon the valley of Tumladen, overwhelming the seven gates and setting the city aflame. The vivid imagery of this destruction, the fiery ruin of Gondolin's white towers, the desperate last stand of its warriors, is one of the most evocative moments in Tolkien's writings. Despite the city's fall, its defenders showed remarkable courage and heroism. Ectelion of the Fountain, captain of Gondolin's armies, famously slew Gothmog, lord of Balrogs, at the cost of his own life. Tuor, Idril's husband and one of the Edain, led a desperate escape through a secret tunnel that Idril had foreseen the need for in a dream. This tunnel, a precaution born of wisdom and foresight, ensured the survival of a remnant of Gondolin's people, including their young son, Eärendil. The escape of Eärendil carried profound implications. It was through him, half-elf, half-man, that the bloodlines of the Eldar and Edain were united, paving the way for the eventual salvation of Middle-earth. Eärendil's destiny, to seek the aid of the Valar and bring about Morgoth's downfall, can be traced directly to Gondolin's fall, illustrating the city's pivotal role in the larger narrative of the First Age. Gondolin's destruction was both a cataclysmic loss and a necessary step in the fulfillment of prophecy. The hope that had been kindled within its white walls did not perish with the city, but lived on through the survivors and their deeds. The implications of Gondolin's rise and fall ripple far beyond its physical existence, weaving into the grand tapestry of Middle-earth's history. Its establishment marked a defiant stand against Morgoth's dominion, while its destruction underscored the inescapable nature of doom that hangs over the First Age. Yet, as with many of Tolkien's narratives, Gondolin's story is ultimately one of renewal and hope, a testament to the resilience of the Eldar and the redemptive power of their sacrifices. The city's fall was a devastating blow to the Noldor, but its survivors carried its legacy forward. Tuor and Idril's escape ensured that Gondolin's spirit lived on through their son, Eärendil. Here, Tolkien interlaces themes of mortality and immortality, as Eärendil, a child of both worlds, embodies the unification of the Eldar and the Edain. His role as the mariner who seeks the Valar's aid to end Morgoth's reign is deeply rooted in the lessons and lineage of Gondolin. Eärendil's journey is not only a continuation of Gondolin's legacy, but also its redemption. Turgon, in his pride and isolation, sought to create a sanctuary that was unassailable, a dream that ultimately failed. Eärendil, by contrast, accepts the vulnerability and responsibility of his heritage, taking the light of Gondolin and bearing it into the wider world. His voyage to Valinor and the subsequent intervention of the Valar mark the culmination of the hopes that Gondolin represented, a triumph over the darkness through courage, sacrifice, and faith in a higher purpose. On a broader scale, the story of Gondolin resonates with Tolkien's recurring theme of the long defeat. Despite its splendor, Gondolin could not escape its fate, yet its fall was not in vain. The city's role in preserving the Noldor's culture and fostering the union of elves and men proved vital to the eventual salvation of Middle-earth. This duality, tragedy intertwined with hope, is a hallmark of Tolkien's world, reflecting the author's own understanding of history, mythology, and the human condition. From a symbolic perspective, Gondolin's destruction also serves as a meditation on the limits of human and elven achievement in the face of greater cosmic forces. The city, for all its beauty and strength, was a fleeting echo of Valinor, a mortal attempt to recreate the undying glory of the Blessed Realm. Its downfall underscores the transient nature of all earthly endeavors, yet it also affirms the value of striving for beauty and goodness, even in the face of inevitable loss. Finally, Gondolin's tale offers a profound reflection on the interplay between fate and free will in Tolkien's legendarium. While its fall was prophesied, the actions of its people, Tuor's leadership, Idril's foresight, Eärendil's courage, ensured that its legacy would not end in despair. In this, Gondolin exemplifies one of Tolkien's most enduring messages, that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope to be found, and the smallest acts of defiance can ripple outward to shape the course of the world. Thus, Gondolin's story is not merely one of loss, but of enduring hope, a reminder that even the most hidden of lights can one day illuminate the darkest of shadows.